All right, take a peek what's going on. Thank you. CMCT we looked at this morning. I'm actually going to move this so I can bring this one down. Keep an eye on our scanner this morning. I don't think it popped up that high, but where was it? Stock scanner. CMCT. So CMCT was a cash positive. I actually took a small trade on this. I saw that Cheetah did also. So I got in when it retested up here. I had a break of 11. So this isn't a trade that we normally play, but to give me something to talk about and to give some reason as to why this looked somewhat interesting to me. It's a stock that had pretty big gap down, so that's a little bit of a worry. They're a cash positive. I'm just going to post that in here too. Reset this chart. Look at all those missed monthly pivots. Holy cow. So it's on a massive downtrend and never seems to recover. So things don't look terrible other than the one big elephant in the room, which is cash positive. We've got 1.2 million left in the bank. They don't need the money for selling their shares. They don't have a lot of shares available to sell, but they do have something. So, but what I liked is just to try to make a run here in June. So, but basically 2 months ago, and it seemed to fail a couple of days out of 3 to break this $11 mark. That seemed like a pretty good resistance point to me. So it was a calculated risk that I took some shares as it broke up. I wanted to actually get in closer to 10. But once it got to, I got in early. Once it got to 10, I kind of liked this area here too. So I started a position here. If it got to 11, about 1090, 1080, I was going to add a little bit. But if it broke 11 and held it, I was going to cut. So that little add would have been just a paper cut. But this was, I was taking the trade plan that it was going to come back up to 11 as it did before and fail. Even though it's a cash positive company, it's making a pretty hefty run here. So last night, first thing this morning, and then again, this is 3 runs in one shot, all in the last 6 hours of trading. It failed here a couple of days in a row and then has failed off, sold off since. It's sold basically right to some previous levels. So it's not a great trade. I didn't put full size, not even close towards this, but I'll take, some small trades here and there, as everybody knows. But it's not that it's a horrible idea to take trades that don't have number one setups, but it's a horrible idea to take it as a full position trade because the risk is obviously higher. So that was my trade plan. So far, it worked out okay. I ended up bailing out at midpoint. So when it broke midpoint, even though it didn't give me any signs of resistance until after it broke above EMA, and now it looks like it's coming back, but it's clearly finding support at midpoint. Pre-market, when it's early to mid pre-market, I'm a pretty big fan lately of taking some, if not all, my position out at midpoint because they've been having a recent, over the past couple of months, it's just been something that I've noticed, that they've been bouncing off the midpoint between the EMA and the VWAP and making their run into open. So small trades, but hey, if I could take a few dollars when not much else is going on, then that's the idea behind it. Higher risk means smaller trade size, but with depending on your account size, I mean, if you make $100 or $30 or $500, depending on what you have for an account size compared to your normal trade size, hey, every little bit adds up to the account. So that was my plan on that. That's why I took it. It seemed justified to me. I had a hard area here where if it broke above it and the second candle did not come back below, the second candle closed still above it, and green, I'd be out. So I had a hard stop loss in mind. It was a calculated risk. What else came up this morning? YHC, we've been watching. I announced this in Elite Traders. So YHC made a couple of big runs, and obviously we played it the other day. Well, it's been a few days now, so it's 16th of July, so almost a month ago. It looks like I got in at 6 and got out at 7, and then got back in. I might have even taken a loss on this one. No, okay, I had a second exit. So I took an initial loss of $1 on this one. It broke the high, got out, got back in at 843. Took part of my position out at VWAP to make $1.40, and the rest of it started to come up, so I just got out at pretty much break even on the second half of the trade, so I remember that one now. So this is making another run. It has made a few big runs, so that was one. Let's go back to the 4 hour. I don't know why these charts are doing this lately. Can't seem to get it to reset to. Maybe it's because of that. Nope. Absolutely no idea why it's doing this. There's some news dropping on Pally. Should take a run at that. It's got a missed monthly pivot. It's going. I should take a look at it. So anyway, this has made a couple of pretty major runs. That's a significant area. So it's got the current monthly pivot, obviously, because last month a lot of people are caught up in this area. It also, on the run up, had some resistance pretty much right there. So this is the main trade idea for today. I think if it does open and run, this is going to be a prime spot. Problem with this is I think we would have to set where, again, for me, my rule is if it breaks above it and the second candle doesn't reject, then I take a stop loss. So I'd like to get in close to this current monthly pivot area if possible, and if it doesn't make it, then it's not a trade for that strategy. If it makes it, breaks above it and keeps running, I would just cut it, because this is obviously, it's got some potential. It's been up here a few times, still has a pretty monstrous gap, and we've seen this pattern quite a bit lately where it's done quite a good effort to fill these gaps. Doesn't mean it will. It's pretty high up there, but why take the risk? But there's definitely some area here that it can go to. So trade number one on this, I kind of like the 230 area because of this previous thing here. It's got support, so previous spike, it's got a lot of support in there before it finally broke, and it broke really hard, and then it's been trending down ever since. So I do like this area very much. Which it almost made it to. I think we're going to see a little jump at open. To me, this is a really good trade. Anything up close to this, but if it breaks and takes off, out and wait for this one before trying to take another entry. That is an either or statement. Pally's at previous resistance areas. Where did I see on the scanner? Everything looks pretty good. They don't have a high offering, which means the chances of them doing a big sell-off for themselves today is not that great. It's got earnings coming up. Man, another 12 days. That's not really a threat at the moment. It's not an earnings run-up by any means. Pretty constant list of one and dones for their spikes. Except for here, it's come down every time it's spiked, but every day has made a new higher one. What I do like is that every time it jumps up, it seems to come down the exact same day. That helped the other day when I was in a trade that went against us a little bit, but I knew it was coming back down. Well, the odds were in the favor that would come back down. So I like this. I kind of like this in around the $1.70 area. I did not borrow shares. Let's see if I can get this one to work. There we go. Oh, nope. Why you keep doing that? Just a habit I've had lately to post the dilution in here so I don't have to keep going back and looking. I do like the $1.70. What do we got? 40 cents per 100. I'll take that.
Executed. Market is open.
There's the market. So I'm going to set this trade up. $1.67 maybe. Pally. $1.67 short.
Rejected. Executed.
There we go. Maybe it helps if I borrow the remaining shares. $1.67. Put an alert on that. I will alert this to the room as well. Alert doesn't look like it's active. $1.65 I just saw.
Executed.
And I'm in. It should be alerting the room. There's the alerts. But it didn't show up in the room yet for some reason. Doesn't like my message. Don't know what's going on there. YHC's tanking, didn't make it. Let me try this one. Yep, seems like the webhook's not working. Anyway. See how that one goes. What else is running? Now we've got a whole bunch of stocks up over 30%, which is good. So we talked about this. I'll save that. Still have to do my trade log on that. AVAH. Starting to get some volume. Well, that's pushing 1 million on this candle. It is an earnings play. Bah. Shouldn't even look at it. Does have a few run-ups. Looks like it basically tested $6 a lot and failed. Found support there, found support there, found resistance. Has found nothing but resistance since. When's their next earnings? November. I don't like the earnings plays, but AVH. Let's see if we've got what the dilution info says. There is none. Don't know why that hasn't pulled anything yet. AVH. $20 months of cash left. They burned through 8.6 a month. Don't mind this. What's the price at? $6. Let's see what it costs to take shares.
Executed.
40 cents. I'm going to take a small position on this. Well, unless it runs away on me.
Executed.
591. I think if it breaks 6, maybe 625. These are the highs of before. I'm going to be pretty strict on this because it's not the best setup with earnings. I don't want to take a chance. If it's just waiting to break those highs and skyrockets, then I'll get out. So there's 2 trades active this morning. What else we got up? DUOL. Oh, I already had this chart open. Look at that. So far it's finding resistance. I like that. $450 stock. Up $100. That's interesting. They make money. Yeah, we'll avoid that one. Based on the price alone, really, but Run has come into the scanner. $11 stock. They are cash positive except for 1 quarter. Well, they're up and down. That one's close. What's this one? Run. Do we have dilution info on them? Doesn't look it. Looks like it's just me and you this morning, Nita. Took AV. AH. So I am in our Elite Traders chat.
Only the best.
AVH at $6. It breaks 620 and holds. Short leash. Run. I'm talking out loud all these trades, just because I'm recording this as well, so we'll have this for later. I think this is the one I looked at and it was, yeah, positive half the time. I'm gonna skip run. DUOL I looked at quickly. It was expensive and that's it. Pally, AVAH, and run. So right now everything else has come back down except for these two. Apple. Options are busy the last few days. I like what Pally's doing. Might try to get in early here in the dollar if it'll go. Maybe set a target for about $1.15. In case it finds support at any of this stuff, just a bit above it. There's some resistance, so that, yeah, $1.08, $1.10 seems to be a pretty heavy spot. So $1.12, $1.15 if it'll go that low. This isn't working so hot. I'll see if I can paste that other cover. And I put my order in, so $1.15. Good till close. Cover. Okay, get that in. Better set myself an alert here. Stop area. Superstitious in the sense that every time I seem to set a stop alert, it always hits it. But gotta practice what you preach and protect your account. Nothing else is popping up. Nothing's coming up on the scanner. It's been a really slow week, but when a lot of companies do their quarterly earnings, this is the week that most of them report them. So it's always a slow week during earnings weeks, 4 times a year. It's not a surprise. It sucks. It's boring. Good chance to get some yard work done. See if anybody, what did anybody trade today? So I closed 3 trades yesterday. Urban Man, a couple good trades looks like. AMID, so he went from 350 to 323. I can't. Which means he got in early and get out really early, so I'll have to work on that with him. Pally's still dropping in a hurry. These are always nice to see. I don't see any threat of holding that overnight. Obviously, you never know, but chances are it'll be down at $1 overnight. It's not a lot of support here. Seems to like that dollar mark. I can see a reverse split coming up in their future. looking for? April they did one. November. Seems to have found midpoint. Hopefully it doesn't bounce. AVAH still pretty reliable at that $6 mark. See if Pally breaks the 9. So again, EMA 9 for me is a good sense of whether something is still in the same up or down trend. As we can see here, it's bounced all the way off of it, all the way up. Sometimes it splits it, but as long as it never closes below it and starts running the other direction, it's still in an uptrend. I use it as confirmation on these red candles that that's not the end of the trend. Most of the time, I use it on the way down to determine if I want to hold a position I'm in any longer. If it stays under the EMA 9 as it's coming down, then it's a sign that I can hold it. So this one, for instance, broke above it, but VWAP was right there, so that shut it down. YHC just died. That never made it. Didn't even make it to my order of... Where was my order? Somewhere in the 228 range. That's okay. Can't take them all. But these are still up 40 and 50%, so this is lots of room for these to come down. I'm just curious to why this is up so far. How does a stock move from 500 to 300 and then back up again? %41 increase in revenue. That's, I guess, pretty hefty. Just curious. So we haven't broke EMA here. Again, have a trade plan. Not too worried about it. Should set up a trade plan on this one. Oops. Based on the fact that it's not the best dilution. Maybe in the $5 range. Apparently that was a missed monthly pivot that it hit. Here's an example of the gap on the way up. Gapped up real hard one morning. Then what did it do? Found support at it. Broke it, came back up, found resistance at the same spots. So I think I'll play this one pretty close to the $5 mark. I'm not going to get greedy on it. It's not a A+ setup. It's an earnings play. Little higher risk. Found some resistance at $5 for a while. Came back to it for support. I realize this is only an hour's worth of candles, but it goes to show that it's still a struggle point. So 510, that's pretty conservative, but I'll take it if it goes. It's only 80 cents a share, but well, actually I say only 80 cents a share is pretty good in this business for single day trades. And I will be back in a second. She's there? I don't know, nobody came close to it except for when you went out. Are you sure? Because nobody's been here. Remy hasn't moved his chair and I haven't moved out of mine. BRLT. Alright, I'm back. Somebody just called out BRLT, which I do see is up 47%. Oh, that's right, I want to keep that. BRLT. Why is it up? Ah, it's another earnings this morning. Earnings season. $240 range, maybe. I don't know. Trying to see what some of the other earnings did. That one took off. That one dove. That's a gamble play. Don't know. Does have a missed monthly pivot, which looks like it came close to, very close to, within 13 cents. Pretty heavy consolidation in that 250 area. My spouse sneezing. I don't know, low. It's a high risk play. Don't like it off the top of my head, but I'll keep an eye on it. Ideally wait for some better setups that are not earnings play, and to get into 2 earning play in one day. Go over to our Elite Traders chat. Earnings day, maybe in the 250 area, but sometimes I fat finger things. So just so our team can see, lots of areas in here for resistance. Take a screenshot of that. Post it so I can see why I say what I'm saying. And for our own research. Still pushing up pretty hard. I might consider it. Let's see what it costs to borrow shares. BRLT. What's the minimum again? 40 cents.
Executed.
Yeah, I'll take the shares. BRLT. If it hits 250, I'll take it. It's at 238 right now. Hit 245, which is probably where I would go had this not been an earnings play, just below that resistance area. So I'm going to be greedy just because it's a higher risk trade. Really like to see Pally close out here. Would also love to see AVAH break VWAP here. This thing's might just be doing a pullback and then another run. Or could be dying without us, which is fine. Earnings play are usually a do not touch. BRLT. Oof. And they're above market cap. They've got 60 months of cash left. They don't have a lot of shares to sell. Not. As you can see on the indicator, we are getting a green light for VW1 play. So everything up here does check. It's within the entry window, that the time frame that we have selected. It's above our minimum price. It has pumped over 40%. It is getting volume that we need. It's above the current monthly pivot, which is also, a necessity. We've got more than 20% to our profit target, which is great, which is our 200 SMA line and the few percentage above it. And it moved less than 10% overall yesterday from open to close. So these all qualify, but that's only one half of the story. Our dilution info here, which is in our custom scanner, it's got over 200 million market cap, which is bad. It's got a lot of cash left, which is not good. So we've got double reds. It disqualifies it. So again, I talked about possibly taking this at the 250 range, and I have an order in there for 250, but it's a higher risk. So if it breaks above and holds, I would get out with a paper cut. So this is pretty much a take it if I can catch it at the peak on its run back down to $1.50. If it breaks above and takes off, I'd get out. Small amount, higher risk, so we don't take any chances on it. AVAH has actually found support at whichever you want to choose, the EMA 9 or VWAP. Obviously it's looking more like VWAP. So the bulls are still in control, pushing this up. just going to get out of that chat room. I announced to everybody this morning that I was recording this session, so to try to keep the chat to a minimum so that we could have a clean chat based on the trades we're taking. I think it scared everybody out of it. Normally we have a bunch of people that will jump in if I get in the live chat room and share my screen like this, but they're a little bit scared of me recording it, I think, which is fine. We got a pretty lively group, so they like to chat a lot when we're in there. We discuss the trades, we discuss the setups. We have a couple of different stock scanners. This one here is the original one that was created, which gives you basic dilution information. We try to simplify it. Green for go, red for bad. Double red usually means an absolute no. But we've also got our VW strategy, where this scanner is a lot more in depth as to criteria that we're looking for before it'll even pop up onto this scan. And then we've got opportunities to say, you don't often see 100% green like this. This would have been a beauty if it took off. Unfortunately, it didn't. BRLT did find support, still pushing up. Again, I have an entrance at 250. AVH, I took my entrance. It's still fighting that $6 range. It's basically creating a wedge. And by wedge, I mean it's coming up here and it has this resistance area here. So there is our wedge. So one is going to break. It's either going to break above this, retest it, and take off, or it's going to continue to bounce off of this until it breaks this one, probably retesting it and taking off. They don't always do the retest, but it's very, very common. So we do like to see this wedge unless it breaks the one we don't want it to break. So it's here, here.
Executed.
And I just got an executed, so I'm guessing I'm in BRLT. I am. So I now have this at $2.50. I will change that line to yellow, signifying my entry price. I'm gonna go for feeling pretty conservative today. Again, with these earnings plays, I don't want to be greedy and get myself in trouble. Be pretty fortunate when we take some of these higher risk trades not to push our luck. So I'm going to go for $1.90, which is above the peaks it's made in the last few days. There's another one over there at $1.94. It's got a old missed monthly pivot that obviously it took out a couple of weeks after that happened. And here's the reason why $2.50 was the target. And as you remember, if you do, I drew some other points where it hit that area and has been rejected. So I'm going to take a conservative target. $1.90 seems to make sense to me. I could probably push down to above today's highs, $1.75, $1.70 if I wanted to be, if it wasn't an earnings day, I'd be down here. But this adds an element of risk. These add an element of risk. So there's several things that are adding risk factors to this trade. I don't want to take too much of a chance on it, even if this continues pushing up. If it breaks 250 and holds, I'll get out. Higher risk, be tighter, have a reason for that tight. You can't just say, well, I got in, so I'm only going to give it 10 cents. The chart has to give you reasoning for that stop loss. And we went back on the 4-hour chart. We saw multiple points where it hit 250 or wicked it like this, but could not break it. Doesn't mean it won't break it today. And if it does, that's really good chances that it's going to make a run off of it. So when they break these resistance areas that they've made over time, that will gain a lot of attention. There's a lot of people watching this hoping it's going to break this high, and then they'll start buying in. When the buyers kick in, more buyers versus sellers pushes the price up. Pally is just finally broke EMA and is beautifully breaking down. I like this. We're 8 cents away from profit target. while I'm waiting for that, I'm just going to post my entries and my exit, which I took right here. Took a little bit less than $1 share, but that's, hey, that's fine. So every single trade that I take, every one, I load it in the trade log. See, even losses. You become a far better trader when you're okay with posting your losses. And if you have more losses than wins, somebody like me is going to come in and look at them with you to try to figure out what can be changed, right? Because if I'm winning at a 90% and somebody else is struggling, then it's my role to figure out what the difference is between what they're doing and what I'm doing. Not to say I always win, but I have an over 90% win rate for pushing my second straight year now. And I have had to make some tweaks, and I've taken some losses that were not necessary. I've taken losses that were bigger than necessary. We all, occasionally push the envelope a little bit. We pull the Maverick and Top Gun, and you just gotta sometimes push it just a little, and then we get in trouble for it. Our plane breaks out, and it reminds us to stop doing that. So we try not to do that. Even experienced traders will occasionally go on. I went on a 100-win streak, and you push your limits a little bit, and then you lose a couple $1,000, and you're like, well, that was a mistake that I could have avoided. And you get comfortable. Well, you don't want to do that. You want to be conscious, not uncomfortable, but conscious of your trades. So when I'm talking about these, the higher risk trades, we have set stops. We have reasons for getting in these trades. We have reasonable places to get out, not just picking a number out of the blue. 3 cents away over here now in Pally. This is awesome. So the trades have to make sense. And my job is to teach you guys where these areas on the charts are that make the most sense. And depending where they are, you take a trade size according to those areas. If the area is way up there, you take a smaller size so you can handle it, or so you can add at that spot. If there's not a lot of resistance beyond, for instance, BRLT, there's nothing really beyond here. So to me, this is going to be short. If it gets above this and holds, I will cut it out. And that makes sense to me because the chart tells me that. Higher risk, lower trade size, earnings season. Actually, I think it's not posted on the chart. But if I remember correctly, yes, earnings are supposed to be today, August 7th. They haven't been posted yet, so there might be a delay. But either way, that was a good reason to get out at midpoint. Now, it came up and did a typical retest of VWAP and is now breaking back down again, and that's fine. Had it not been earnings day, I may have pushed this a little bit farther into anywhere between 745 and the $7 current monthly pivot. Could it come back down here to in the fives? Absolutely. This is a cash positive company, which we don't trade. So I took a risk that made sense. So I'm explaining it out here, but the chart gave clear entry area, clear risk area, so traded accordingly. And didn't spell accordingly correctly. There we go. So there's that one. This came awfully close, within 3 cents. I'm not worried. It'll probably come back up and retest the EMA. It'll get here. It doesn't really have any areas in here to bounce off of. I'm not too worried. BRLT. So this is now testing the area. Again, it's a higher risk trade, so I'm not going to give this a lot of room. It's also earnings day. It's not playing well like the other one did. AVAH has retested several times this $6 area and looks like it may break our wedge. That's not very accurate. Not a very accurate wedge, to say the least. So if I wanted to actually draw something, maybe it'd be more like this, where it broke away from it, came back, ran up a little bit, broke through it, but come really hard snapback, has now retested it, and where are we looking now? So now we are broken below VWAP, so the bears are trying to take control of this. We've broken below EMA 9, but if it comes back, we're still not out of the trend, right? Because you can break below it. You can even close below it. There's no volume over here, so this one doesn't really count. I mean, 1,000 shares, 300 shares. This isn't even, we're not even looking at this trade with these kind of numbers. But now we're starting to get 1 million shares at the opening 5-minute candle. 1 million shares traded hands in 5 minutes. Like, this is the type of volume that we know. Out of 1 million shares, if I'm trading a few hundred or a couple of thousand or a few thousand, you're going to be able to get your trade executed, right? You don't want to be stuck in here when nobody's buying or selling and it's running up on you and you just can't get out. That's a place we don't want to be. So we need the volume, we need the liquidity so that we can get in and get out as we want to. But it did catch the radar at open, right? 44,000 shares at the candle before open, 1 million shares the candle after, and we've been 400, 300, 500, 700,000 since. Volume is coming down because nobody's interested. All of these buyers that were like, we're going to get rich off of this, it's going to run, are now going into panic mode. And if they're buying it into this pre-market high break, right, they pushed it up, everybody's buying it. In here they're sweating a little bit, and if it breaks below, we're going to see a sell-off, potentially. I don't have a crystal ball, but here we are, 16 cents.
Executed.
And we're out. So just got the alert on that. I don't know why it's not pushing through to my elite traders chat right now. I'll have to check on those. But love it. So we got this trade in live as well. We took it here to $1.67. We took a conservative exit. Now, 200 EMA is, I mean, this is the prime target. And when the 200 EMA and your current monthly pivot are this close together, I mean, that's just a double whammy, right? Like, this is where it's going. It's always attracted to these areas. We have as our indicator the 200 EMA has a bit of a grace period because what we want to do is get out before everybody else does. So short sellers are in this. When it starts getting close, they start buying back their positions. Well, that creates a bit of a reversal potentially because there's so many short sellers buying it back, and there's more buyers and sellers, pushes the price up, right? So we've got this grace period. Just, I mean, don't push the extra few cents. And I can't tell you how many times we've seen the price come down and get close or just touch the 200 at $1.05, maybe a couple of shares traded hands there, but most of them were $1.07, $1.08, $1.06. And the next thing you know, it goes on a secondary run. And it runs up for 2 days. Now, that's not that frequent, but it has made secondary runs. And why? Like, just take your profit and stop worrying about if it's going to come back on you. Like, take all of that risk off the table. Get your win. Get out. Could you got 5 more cents? Maybe. Does it really matter? No. You rack up the wins. That 5 cents isn't going to matter because you know what? If your win percentage is higher, you can add 5 more % to your trades as time goes on, and you're going to make that money back tenfold anyway. So we're still bouncing off this support line. Again, without the volume, it's pretty hard to call this an accurate support line, but we've got a pretty good judgment of where it's been going. So we're still in the wedge. It's closing. The question's going to be, who's it going to close in favor of? Me? Or somebody else? BRLT, look at that snapback. Did that halt? Nope. But that's beautiful. So we have a resistance line here for a reason, right? Closed above. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking. Closed above, but I always wait to see what the second candle does. What does the next candle do after the close above my stop out area, which was also actually my entry. So you got to give it a few cents room. But the second candle just rejected. Love it, love it, love it. It's a high risk trade, earnings. It's got lots of cash left, so they're not in any hurry to sell their shares, although they may be doing it. It's got a high market cap. That's, we don't want to play with that too much. But I took a trade size that allowed me to take a little bit more risk, and so far we're okay with the results. Higher risk, higher risk, higher risk, 3 times smaller the trade. Don't let high risk trades, don't gamble. You go to Vegas, spend your money, have some entertainment at least. You can have a beverage for free while you're gambling. If you want to put your money in a machine, see you later. Don't put your money in this machine and expect a coin flip to go in your direction every time. It doesn't make sense, right? This is why we have a trade channel. This is why I'm teaching this. Quad teaches this. We want to put the odds in your favor as much as possible. If you're going to play a machine that has a 90% payout and the machine beside it has a 20% payout, which one are you going to put your money in? I mean, that's an obvious answer, right? It should be. Even if the 10%, 20% payout one pays out twice as much, you're never going to hit it, right? So we do all of these things. We've got all of these indicators, all of these scanners. We scour the web for all of this information. We've paid lots of money to have this brought into our Discord so that we can take the best setups possible for this style of trading and get our win rate up over 90% with meaty wins, not just a bunch of little paper cut wins and paper cut losses. We've got good, solid wins. You grow your account 3, 4, 5% a day. And this is why we're doing it. And for me personally, I love teaching. I used to be a trainer for a 4 and 5 diamond hotel chain. I traveled all over the world teaching hotels how to make more money. I loved it. You're sharing knowledge, you're sharing something. You're seeing the results when you leave and these places are successful. You had a hand in that, right? And that's something that feels good. Yeah, I could sit here alone by myself, make some money trading, but out of the 100 million people that are out there trading in this, for me to share that knowledge with a couple of hundred, I mean, why not, right? I share it with my friends, I share it with my family, I'm sharing it with you guys. And it holds me accountable. I stick to my rules a lot tighter when you guys are watching this, especially when we're in the chat live and it's an active chat room. It's better for me even because I get held accountable to my trades a lot tighter than I might if I didn't. If you got a personal trainer when you're at the gym, you're going to work harder than if you go there by yourself, right? Well, at least I do. It all makes sense. You trade as a community, you're much more successful. If you want to get someplace fast, you go it alone. If you want to get someplace further, you go as a group. And that's a mentality that it sticks. Still in the wedge. Very keen eye on this. I already have my order in here. Actually, I didn't put an alert on that though. So let's do that. That's my profit target. I want it to let me know when it hits it. I'm actually going to set an alert up here to watch. So if I'm looking at something different or this starts to become a hefty play, then I'm not going to miss it if it runs away on me. But so far we're looking comfortable. We're making an attempt to break the EMA 9. You can use 8, you can use 9, whichever you prefer. Options I use 8. Short selling I use 9. I don't like one candle difference between 8 candle average and 9 candle average. It's not going to change that much, but This is just what we have built in here. Pally, I didn't post my Pally completed trade yet. As you can see, it's broken into our zone, and it's probably going to touch the current monthly pivot, but that's okay. Why add that extra risk? Pally was text. Post that. My dog is throwing his bone all over the place. If you ever get a German Shepherd, it's a lot of work. They're pretty, but man, they're a lot of work. Very high energy, very food motivated. You have to walk them, you have to play with them, you have to keep them busy. I'm going to move this into an active screen. We've already, I mean, Pally's done, right? So I'm just checking it from time to time, so I'm just curious, but CMT, I already posted that, so gonna save it, close that. Do we have anything else up? SKYT. Let's have a look. I'm probably gonna end this stream here shortly, but I just want to see BRLT. I want to try to see that through. If it doesn't during the stream here, that's fine, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. SKYT. And we're doing this live, so you can, I'm not just posting, you know, only winners. You're watching me do all of my trades. I've got several screens here, but I'm doing it all on this one today, just so that I'm recording this one screen with our scanner. Pally's the last thing that pumped 40% and somewhat meets our criteria. Too bad this thing didn't go. It's really unfortunate. This was a fantastic chart, but they ran a couple of weeks ago, so I think they mostly sold their shares back then because it tanked after it ran up to $13-14. SKYT, so another earnings play. Earnings. Skype, run, same stocks. I use my Trade Zero scanner to show anything over 30% rise from close yesterday. Anything over 250,000 shares, and I like to see anything over 90 cents because even though now we can short sell anything under 90 cents, not all brokers can. Most brokers, you have to be above $1 before you can short something. So that is when the majority of the people are watching for these pumps. So if something pumps up 40, 50, 60% from 30 cents to 99 cents, they're all dying to get in as soon as it breaks a buck. And as soon as they all get in, it drives the price back down. So I watch anything above 90. As soon as it hits above 90 cents, it shows up on my scanner. And really, I want some, I mean, to make 10 or 15 cents on a $1 trade, that's not bad. It's 15%, right? And if you're throwing 10,000 shares at that, you're making money. So you can't say you can't make money on those. But I like the ones that are getting into, you know, 30, 40, 50, 60 cents per share. You know, we get some that are $2, $3, $4 a share. Those are really nice, but don't happen as frequent. We had a run a month or so ago where I caught a bunch of $18, $19 shares that were down to $7, $8 by the end of the day. I mean, those are, when you're making $10 a share, it's ridiculous. But my goal, I don't have financial motivation goals because you got to go with what the chart gives you, right? So you heard me say that earlier in this cast. I'm saying it again now as we get into the close of this cast. If your motivation is to make X amount of dollars today, you're going to base your decisions on the trades on that, and that is very dangerous ground. But if your motivation is to take the best range of win a chart will give you, then the money will come. So you got to play the charts based on what's offered to you and the best setups possible with the best result areas possible. And then just once you get good at it, just add, just start adding money to the size of your trades. We are still wedging here. I kind of want to see this happen live too. So if I stop out, great. I'll stop out at a couple of few cents per share loss. It's okay. I've already made more on the last trade than this thing can possibly stop me out here if I, obviously stop out where it should. So I'm already up today. If this thing doesn't play out, my stop loss is pretty tight again, only because of the risk factors. I mean, look, they're both earnings plays. So 2 out of my 4 trades today were earnings plays. Actually 3 out of the 4 because CMCT didn't have earnings on the chart, but when you looked at the information on the stock, it said earnings was today. This one has the next earnings in 91 days. But which means, yeah, today. So 90 days apart. Every 90 days you get, every 3 months, you get earnings season. And that's for all of the companies that have their financials done on the typical calendar, January, February, March, and then earnings are by end of April. April, May, June, earnings are end of July, early August. Fortunately, my companies, I started my company in May, and I don't follow the typical calendar, so my accountant loves me because I'm not giving her all of my financial information to process the same time as every other company is. So BRLT still breaking. This is a good sign. We're getting under. We still haven't let go of the EMA 9 yet. It's not out. If this comes back up, we're not out of the uptrend. This is a very short uptrend, like 6 candles, but it's not out yet. But we're looking all right so far. Probably could take some off here just based on there's so much negative. This is such a bad trade. Again, with reason, right? We made a reasonable argument to take a trade on this with very low risk to high reward. I don't play an actual numbers game for risk reward. It doesn't make sense. I have to go with what the chart tells me. There's nothing I despise more than really somebody saying I'm entering here and I want 2-to-1 risk reward, so they just set. So here we go. There's 2-to-1, right? 2 to the upside, 1 to the downside. Well, why? Why? What does the chart tell you that this is the area of profit? So let's say you got in here and you wanted to get out below this lowest candle. All right, so this is your stop loss. This isn't my plan, but I do see a lot of people that always ask, well, what's your risk reward ratio? Why is it not 2 to 1.5 to 1, 2 to 1, whatever it might be? Okay, well, here's a 2 to 1 with a stop loss that makes sense. It peaked here, plus it found support. So you could argue that this morning this is a line of support and resistance. I'm just talking this out while I'm waiting for this wedge to go. This guide I don't want to play just because it's earnings. I've already played too many earnings today. It's not really giving me anything great to look at right now. Yeah, $12 to $9 is not a bad, but I haven't even seen it come up on the chart. It has made some money a few times over the past few quarters. We like companies that lose money because if you lose money, your stock goes down, right? So here we are still watching this, but back to the risk reward. So let me draw a temporary line right here at 666. Hopefully you're not religious enough that this bothers you. If you are, good for you. That's great. I mean, why? Why? There's nothing here, right? So for me to take a risk reward position just because I want to see 2 to 1, what's going to tell me the stock's going to go this high? Nothing. Makes no sense. Plan your trade based on what the chart gives you. We teach you all of these formats, skills, whatever you want to call it, and make your money. Don't worry about what somebody else tells you about what's your risk reward. So I'm getting pretty close. So I'm at an hour now, roughly, since the market opened and I went live with this. We're watching this. Might be a VWAP retest. We're watching this break one side or the other. Maybe what I'll do is do another small video once these two have closed to recap them, and I'll tie it to the end of this video. So here we are, good push. VWAP retest. Is it getting rejected? The bear's still in control. This one here, the bulls are still in control. Right, bulls push it out, bears push it down. Drag it down. This one has... Now, I don't pay huge attention to these, but we basically have the RSI index, so relative strength, and we have the MACD. So when a MACD crossover happens, you know, that's a bit of a confirmation that we're now in a bullish trend. But it's technically crossed on this candle here, but we've had a couple of green candles since. So we'll see. There is no, doesn't matter. You can go on YouTube, you know, this is a dead set. You just follow this and you'll win. Trust me, I've gone through YouTube. I remember when I first started trading, I've gone through so many people that, this is the perfect strategy. If you follow this, your account will grow, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, great, we're going to be millionaires. Here comes the Lamborghinis. There's nobody that has a set strategy that you can follow it every time. You have to learn this stuff. It's just inevitable. There's always a curveball that gets thrown at you, and you're not going to know what to do with it. It doesn't matter if it's options, futures, shorting, long. I've done them all. And in fact, it's because I've done them all that I've become a much better trader and can recognize some of the things on the chart from each strategy and put it all together. And shorting just has the highest win ratio. These are all companies that lose money, and when they lose money, the stocks go down. There's a high percentage that the stock's going to go down. But it also has the highest risk. Because if you're not paying attention, and this thing goes to $140 right now, and you're not watching it or don't have alerts set up, you're in the hole $138 per share. That's a lot of money you can lose. If you're buying this to go long, and it goes from $2 to $0, you've only lost $2. Right? So you got to keep that stuff in mind. We are really gapping into this, pushing into this wedge here. I'm actually really excited to see what this does. This is a pretty hefty rejection. Love it. We had a little bit of whiny children pushback here, but we shut them down. Again, higher risk trade, but so we got to keep an eye on it. But right now it's making money. In fact, I'm not opposed to taking this off at midpoint at that white line right now that I have at $1.96. Just off the risk. It's only a few cents away from 9 cents above my initial profit target that I took based on what the chart told me. So we'll see. Anything else? AVA, HBRLT, Seamskite, Ron Dual. Nope, so scanner still has all the exact same charts up. It's not been a busy week, but have still made some money. So on average, I would say as an average, I grow my account 5% per day. I think I started to talk about this, but then I got sidetracked by one of the trade opportunities. When you think about it, your bank investments, they base your returns on 5% a year. Now that's lower risk. So if you retire with $1 million, right? They claim that you have mutual funds or whatever it's going to be, and you should pretty much be able to bank on 5% a year return, which is a $50,000 a year, more or less salary, if you have $1 million in your investments, right? So every $1 million, $50,000 return. That's great. You're getting 5% growth a year. If you follow the S&P 500 the past couple of years, it's been really good. Maybe you've got 7 to 10% growth. I'm growing my trading account 5% on average a day, and that includes the losing days. So some days it's 7 or 8%, some days it's 2%, some days it's 1%, some days it's 9%, some days I lose 1%. Average is 5%. So if you've got an account, we did the math once because we had a challenge at one point where it was, you know, trying to open people's eyes to the potential of trading. Once you get good at it, you're never going to get that potential tomorrow. But if you grow your account 2% a day, you can start with like $2,500, I think it was. And if you grow your account on average 2% a day, you're at $336,000 by the end of 1 year of trading. On average 2%. Okay? I averaged 5%. Was at 7%. I took a pretty good sized loss on SONN, which was a stock a couple weeks ago that went from $3 to 30 some dollars. A lot of people had their accounts actually liquidated from that. I took a loss that was bigger than I wanted to. I was in it. I didn't have a stop loss set because it was pre-market. I had to go in and do some work. I was in the car. I looked at it before one stop, and I was up over $1,000 on the morning already. I drove to my next stop, which was about 15 minutes away. I looked at it again. I was down a lot, and I mean a lot. So I closed it, and that was painful. And that sometimes is trading, but you have to have the alert set. I didn't have an alert set. I got too comfortable, too confident. Yeah, my account could handle it. Yeah, that stock came down an hour later, unfortunately, but that's the stuff that happens. You have to set yourself up. Still being rejected here, AVAH. But again, 5% a day. Let's see if ChatGPT can tell us. Do I have ChatGPT on my? I do. I think there's 200 and some. Let's see, how many trading days in a year? I think it's like 230. 252 trading days a year. Okay. If I grow a $5,000 account, 5% every. So this is just to get an average, right? It won't be an exact 5%, but an average at the end of the year. Every trading day will be my balance at the end of 1 year. $1.2 million. Okay, so growing your account 5% a day, starting at $5,000. This is the potential of trading. Okay, it's ridiculous. I have taken an account with my group of people in here and one other one where twice I've taken an account from 1,500 to 30,000. And the last one I did it in less than 4 months. And that was at growing more than 5% a day. So it is possible. I've done it a few times. I've done it live with my trading groups. I will do another one at some point soon. Could I make more money if I traded my large account? Absolutely. But I want to teach this stuff. I want people to be able to do what I'm doing so that I can be part of that. It motivates me. This KYT is pretty much doing the same thing. I don't know if it's got previous resistance, but I'm actually going to close that so I stop paying attention to it. So this thing is struggling with EMA 9, so it's kind of the band between these two lines, which is only 10 cents. But our wedge here is, what are we doing? People are watching this, and if you think everybody else that understands the charts isn't watching this exact same thing, if it breaks above here, they're buying. If it breaks below, they're short selling. I'm up quite a bit on this one right now. Just good. Got the two closed positions. CMCT and PALI. P-A-L-I. Posted them in the trade log. You can see I post a lot in the trade log. I post all of my trades. Stopped out, so there's a loss. Stopped out the first time. Can I get this? Yep. So I get in here. It had a significant resistance line. As you can see, I posted it in gray for me. Now this one, I turned it to red, yellow because it was also my entry. Same as on here, but this was a significant resistance. I took it apart. I knew it. If it broke that, we might be in for a bit of a run. It broke it. I actually, it's like 100%. So I took 100% loss here. I got back in when it broke VWAP, and I wrote it back down and got out at the target. So I ended up recouping the majority of my loss in that. Not all of it. It was still an overall loss, but it went from 100% loss to maybe a 20% loss on that trade. And that's good. I don't mind that. I don't want to take losses, but this is a stock market. You're going to have losses. So I'm going to end this live session here. I'm going to keep an eye on these two as these close. I mean, we're getting testy over here. But as these close, I will post add a video review. So when I stop talking here, it should start into the review of these two trades. Just to close this out, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a couple of nice winners when this breaks and dies and this thing just continues to struggle down. But otherwise, I will show you the results either way. We'll recap the day, and I hope you got a chance to learn something today. And if you didn't, or if you're more curious, we're going to post some links in the chat box below to where you can join me and Quad live multiple times a week. We do lots of live sessions, and we definitely want to teach people how to do this. Our system is very inexpensive. You know, in comparison, I've paid over $15,000 US for, hey, look at this push, for courses on several different places. Now some of them are charging $15 US for one course, and that's where I get out of that. He was paying me to help, and that's just too much. So ours is like $150 a month, and if you can't make money following this system in 2 to 3 months, you're out what, $300? If you don't make that money back in the first month, then there's really something wrong. Because trading a very small trade account, I'll have you guys making more than that in your first 2 weeks. But so it's very, very affordable. If somebody's looking into it, the links will be below. I will shortly post the results of these two trades. So hope everybody learned something today, or at least got some curiosity going if you're looking into day trading. And I hope to see you in the future. Okay, as promised, here's the recap on the last two trades that are left open when I finished the live session this morning. So when I left it open, we were pushing up here. I can't remember exactly where it was pushing, but either way, I think it was around here. It did a retest of VWAP, came back down, bounced again, because I said it was kind of between these two, but there's only 10 cents difference. And then on the last one, when it actually broke VWAP and was rejected, it tanked. So it actually tanked, and as soon as I got the alert here at $1.90, and I looked at it, and it was already down to $1.81, I just exited the trade. So I clicked exit, get out, and then halted, and then opened out of the halt later, higher I should say. So in this instance it worked out because I got out just before. Now I could have waited a little longer but didn't. It was my target. I had set that for a reason when we discussed this morning. It is an earnings play. It's got some bad dilution information. This was a lot higher risk play, but again, it was, get in at 250. If it breaks two candles above and holds, I was out. It did not do that. It rejected hard. Confidence was building there. This was another big rejection, and we're out. And in fact, right now it's at the same price that I get out at, an hour and a half later. So I'm really happy with that trade. Worked out really well. AVAH. So this one was, remember, coming into this wedge, and what did it do? It squeezed itself right to the very tip of the wedge. So you can't tell me that doesn't actually play. When it broke the wedge, it did post a green candle. So I actually had my order window open, and I was ready. I had it at like a 650, so it would sell or get me out anything under 650. So I just give it room in case it pops a big candle. I don't want to be changing my order every 5 seconds. So I usually put it up here. The gap between the two prices was only 1 cent, so it wasn't going to give me some sort of crazy nonsense fill up here, but I just set it far enough that if a green candle pushes up while I'm submitting my order, it will still execute the order for me. So what did it do? It did push and close above $6. Now, if you remember, the $6 range was the heavy resistance from back on the 4-hour chart. Many times it rejected there. It hasn't been above it since. What did it do? It closed one above. The next one was pushing. I was getting ready to get out of this, and then it came down and went red for a few seconds, right almost at the end of the candle, and then literally the last second of the candle it closed, basically break even with where it opened. So I gave it, okay, I'm gonna just, it didn't push a second candle up, I'm gonna be patient. So patience is key. The next candle closed hard red, went back down below 6. So that's a clear confirmation that, let me look how long it tried to break $6, and when it finally did, rejected back. So this really built me confidence that I'm not going to have to worry about this anymore. And what did it do? Started the trend down, took a hard couple of bounces, did a rejection close to midpoint, but it's also right, like look how these play. So it had a hard time breaking this on the way up till it finally did. Has a hard time breaking on the way down. This will probably continue down, but I've got some things I want to do this afternoon. It's now 1:30 in the afternoon my time. I'm in this longer than I needed to be, but it's okay. Now I'm going to take the rest of the day off. So it broke down, came back up. It is now breaking back up, but it'll probably fade. But I took my profit. This is my fourth and final trade. The other three were closed with good profit. I made 3.6% in count growth today, which is great. It's a fantastic stat. If you remember me talking with ChatGTP, 2% a day gets you, on a $5,000 account, puts you over $1 million in a year. So I did 3.6. It's a low day. This is earnings season. We don't normally trade these ever, but I had some clear reasons for doing them, had some clear stop loss areas that I paid attention to pretty hard and made sure that I was going to follow my plan, and it was going to be tiny paper cuts if they did decide to close above. But the patience paid off here. Was a nice win. Got another 50 cents on that one. This one was 70 cents. And the other two trades that I took, CMCT early this morning and PALI, which we did live as well. So closed pretty good profit. Very happy with the day, and that's the final. So I hope this helped out anybody, and if you have any questions, by all means leave it in the comments.